Zooey Mama, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't mean to make you guys bummed or sad or anything like that, but this will more than likely be the final Behemoth Vlogmaster episode you see in this bedroom. That's right, this 3-year, 112 episode journey ends here with Wimp After Wimp. It's a parody of the song Wave After Wave by whoever the hell sings it out. You get the idea. So if you don't mind, we could probably just take a breather and a moment of silence just to respect that this could be the last time you see anything in this house. Starting now. Anyway, look guys, I'm not hanging up the coat anytime soon. There will be more Behemoth Vlogmaster episodes. Don't you worry. It's just they won't be here. I'm ready to take the next step into this blog adventure and trying to improve the formula a bit more. I'm gonna be recording at my dad's house. There's like costs and benefits to doing that, but it's just that I predicted that sometime this month we would be moved to a new house, but we haven't even begun packing yet, so I wouldn't count on us leaving this month. And you know what? There could even be non-BBM related videos in this house before we move, but just don't give your hopes up. So let's get this over with. The final episode of this bedroom and the final time I use this old computer for anything Kale-Idle-Scope related. Now, Diary of Wimpy Kid. It's the only book series I give a crap about, and even then I've kind of fallen off the rails a bit. It's not that I wouldn't enjoy them today, it's just I have other hobbies that are kind of occupying me right now. It is possible I might continue to read more of them, but as for now, I'm not that interested. Today I'm going to tell you my experiences with Wimpy Kid himself. Now what the hell does that mean? Like, have you met the guy, Kale? No. I only meet people that age. Greg Heffley is immortal. He does not die. He's spawned like 17 books in that whole time he's been in middle school. What the crap, he should be in his 60s. Diary of Wimpy ass middle-aged man. But no, it doesn't work like that apparently. Time does not go forward in this universe. It makes no sense. I know it's a cartoon, but what excuse is that? It still makes no sense, you know what I mean? But the point is, I'm here to talk about just a few of the main points that I have remembered from the Diary of Wimpy Kid series. Because let me tell you, I have written the first 14 books that I own. Unfortunately, they do not sell Kale Edition Diary of Wimpy Kid books, so unfortunately you won't be able to read my commentary. So I'm hoping this will do a fine enough job itself. I just don't remember that much off the top of my head, but let's start with the main idea. For anybody who's not familiar with Wimpy Kid, basically he's a, 12-year-old guy that's in middle school. And obviously it's a hellhole, like, it sucks bitch. Nobody likes stupid-ass school. There's bullies, there's homework, there's more bullies, there's more homework. It's total bitch. Thankfully, I'm already done with that crap, but my god, it still haunts me. But the point is, Greg is trying to quote-unquote survive middle school, and it's really tough for him, because he's not that strong. And you know, I probably should have said this earlier, but now would be a good time to say that this may contain a few spoilers for the Wimpy Kid books, if anybody gives a crap. If you want to read them yourself, do not continue watching this video. With that said, I like to talk about the cheese touch. Any big Wimpy Kid fan is going to be familiar with that, but just in case you're not a fan, basically in the first book, rumor has it, some kid was eating lunch during recess. Never heard of a school that lets you do that, but I'm sure they're out there. But anyways, so some kid had a sandwich and the cheese from it slid out and landed on the freaking basketball court. And for whatever reason, no janitor came to just pick it up and throw it in the trash. They just left it there. Over time, kids from the middle school started this stupid-ass trend where if anybody touched it, they would have what we call cooties, where you can't be touched, and if you are touched, it spreads and nobody will come near you, and it's so freaking dumb. I mean, that'll cause germs for sure, but it's better than real cooties. At least it makes more sense than real cooties, but what the hell am I talking about? I do have a question or two about how this works, though. If nobody sees you touch the cheese, does it still count? And if nobody sees you touch somebody else after you've touched the cheese, does that count? Like, what if I pass it off to somebody in the bathroom and nobody's there to notice it? How does that work? Like, in one of the books, I believe it was the second one, some new kid named Jeremy comes to the school and Greg gives him a pat on the back and is like, welcome to our school, Jeremy. And it's like, he thought that would get rid of the cheese touch. But do you have to be a part of this stupid game for it to count, or does it just count for anybody? Like, it's so freaking confusing. Now, the cheese disappeared one day, and it's for a very nasty reason. A couple of high school kids decided to walk onto the middle school property and just bully Greg and freaking Rowley, Greg's best friend. There's a reason why they're called wimps. Because they don't do anything. They don't try to scream for help. They don't report it to their parents. It's so dumb. You could at the very least punch the dudes and try to run off at least. I mean, whatever, forget it. They made Rowley eat the cheese. I am not making that up. For whatever reason, they didn't make Greg eat the cheese because he just stated, I'm lactose intolerant. And they just thought that gave him the excuse to not eat it. I mean, don't get me wrong, these high schoolers aren't idiots. And they shouldn't be on the property to begin with, but the point is, I don't think that would work in real life. They would still make you eat the cheese if they're that much of a big freaking idiot bitch. I mean, we've heard from these guys before in the first book. I think the only book they appear in is the first book, but on trick-or-treat night, who the hell says it like that? On Halloween, Greg and Rowley were trick-or-treating and somehow they got separated from the dads. Kind of forgot how that happened, but the point is, there was a point where it was just Greg and Rowley, and these dumbass high schoolers decided to drive past them and squirt the fire extinguisher on them, because, you know, they're dumb. Now, Greg specifically said, we're calling the cops. And what do? They freaking stop the truck and wait them out. Like, they go running into their grandma's house, I think it was Greg's grandma, and they lock the door. And they just freaking stand there and try to wait them out. Are you that freaking idiotic? When somebody says they're gonna call the cops on you, what do? You run the hell away. You don't just try to beat them up. They could already be on the phone with the damn police. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Morons. Well, anyway, so that's the cheese touch from the first book. Unfortunately, my memory is paper thin with this book series, but I will go over a few more things. They're probably not going to be as in-depth as the cheese touch, but... So if you read the Diary of Wimpy Kid 9, what was it, The Long Haul or whatever, where the family goes on a road trip, I believe there's like 3 books where they go on a road trip anyway. They're really running low on ideas. It's not that they're lazy, it's just they're milking the hell out of this thing, and that's the result of it. Well, in that book, Greg Heffley stumbles across a man and his family that he calls the Beardos. And he stumbles across them over and over and over again on their vacation trip. How does that work? I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but it's just so unlikely. But the point is, it started off at the crappy-ass 50s or 60s hotel where they're in the hot tub as a family. I'm not gonna go through like the whole series of events, but basically Greg was sleeping one night and the Beardos kids were just riding a freaking maid cart or whatever you call them down the hall and crashing it into crap, and so Greg came out and started yelling at them. And if you think Greg is wimpy, holy crap, these younger kids. But the point is, he goes and gets the man, who was this big bearded guy, who was really big too, he's like huge. Once Greg sees that, he runs back into the room and locks the door. He was about to get yelled at by a man in his underwear, and the guy even pounds on the door that he thought he went in, but it just turned out to be the woman that was next door. So over time, after bumping into these people multiple times, Greg comes to the assumption that at the water park, when they're all there, you know, he assumes that the Beardos took their stuff. What really happened, and I'm going to warn you again, spoiler alert, but you've seen this much of the episode already, so who cares? At the end of the book, Greg had the locker number wrong. He found the key in like his bag. He thought it said like something, but it said something else. I don't remember the exact numbers, but he just came to the assumption that it was the Beardos. Because we all know big fat men are bad. And like the dad is on board with this, like Frank Heffley. He went into their house when it was unlocked and looked for stuff. He even made a mess with his family besides Manny and the mom, but he dug through everything in their motel room once they found out where they were. And he even decided to use their bathroom. And once the man came back, he ran out of there with his pants down. And guys, don't make assumptions that people are stealing your stuff. It could be a very simple explanation. And all that, they didn't memorize the freaking number of the locker they had, but don't just blame it on some guy that you were afraid of. That doesn't mean he's gonna freaking kick your ass. In that same book, and this is not related to the Beardos, but they decided to let the wind guide them instead of just planning out this whole vacation. They decided to just go with the flow and go random paths down the road, and they eventually came across a restaurant that had a really kick-ass apple pie. It was so good, in fact, that they ordered another one. That's a lot of calories right there, buddy. You think that Dad would be okay with that? I know you're like, Kale, you're one to be talking, but holy crap, that's a lot of calories. I'm not trying to judge, I'm just saying, Frank, think of your kids. You want them to become fat like Kale here? Well, I'd probably be here all day if I went over every point from the Wimpy Kid books. I might have said that I'm forgetting parts of the series, but now they're starting to come back to my mind, and I think it's probably best that we just end the episode here. So, that was this episode. I will see you guys in a new location. Goodbye.